Eagles. Eagles.
Welcome in, everybody, to the JAKIB Pregame Show here in a Week 9 edition as the Philadelphia Eagles get ready to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars here. Doug Pederson returning to the city of brotherly love, and the Philadelphia Eagles rocking the Kelly Green jerseys today. Birds are 5-2. Jags are 2-6. Big discrepancy between these two teams, but we will see how the game plays out today. Joined now by Dan Sileo, host of the National Football Show, 1987 national champion, a Miami Hurricane legend. We'll be joined by John McMullen in about 15 minutes. Big Sills, how you doing on this Sunday, my man?
Absolutely spectacular. How could you not? We have football today. We had football yesterday. Has Jimmy Johnson started out the NFL on Fox? How about them Hurricanes? Absolutely undefeated. How could I not feel great going into this game? Eagles and Jaguars, and old Dougie, the man, the myth, the legend, who brought you a Super Bowl championship, is back in the building. How you doing? And it's Shady McCoy Day.
Yeah, Shady McCoy Day. That's dope. Doug Pederson coming back. Big Souls, you just brought up the great topic. What do you make of Doug coming back today? It's his second return, so it's not the first time. There's no tribute videos or anything today, but look, we got one Super Bowl, man, in franchise history, and Doug's the guy that brought it here. Do you think that has any impact on the game today?
It has no impact on the game, but it has impact on the fans.
Yeah,
the people that are sitting in the stands. Hey, I don't care how many times Andy Reid comes back to Lincoln Financial. That will always be something that the fans will look at and what that guy set up with the franchise and how you do business today. And you'll look at the same thing with Doug. Doug was a guy that did the impossible, going against two GOATs in one game. Have you ever seen anything like that? Two GOATs in one game, you knock them out both, and you do it with backup quarterbacks. And it's insanity. And backup left tackle, backup linebacker, that will always, and Zander, even before I covered the Eagles, in my opinion, that Super Bowl, if you look at the last 15, every single Super Bowl has been won by an elite quarterback. Probably the last 12 have been won by an elite quarterback. You talk about an elite moment that will always go down in history as one of the greatest moments when it comes to Philly, and Doug Pederson, rightfully so, has that statue up front there with Nick. Dude, I think it's great for the fans. Impact on the players. Dude, today's players, most of these guys don't even live in Philly. You know, the legacy guys like Brandon Graham do. Most don't. They go back to their crib. So at the end of the day, Zander, it really is more about the fans.
No doubt. I'm looking forward to seeing Dougie P back out there. I just saw a couple videos of him floating around. He's walking out on the field. He was talking to Howie Roseman, the greatness of Howie Roseman. So Doug's back. Great to see Doug back in the city of brotherly love. He is my favorite Philadelphia Eagles coach of all time, Doug P. So big shout out to Doug P. Big Sills, keys to the game, man. Jags will have Travis Etienne. They will have Tank Bigsby, and they will have Brian Thomas Jr. They're missing Gabe Davis. They're obviously missing Christian Kirk. What's kind of the keys to this game as you come into it? Eagles have played better football in the last 3 weeks. Is it as simple as play great football, handle business, and get a win today?
I'll tell you what you really have an issue with here, because many of the players that have to step in for the Jags, you really don't have a lot of tape on. So you really have a lot of unknown here with this. To me, this is more about the Eagles just taking care of Eagle business. Don't worry about the opponent. Don't worry about the fact that what their injury list looks like right now. To me, this comes down to doing some of the things that you said at the press conferences all week long. Hey, stick to your guns, man. You're starting to develop a formula here. And by the way, I love the fact that the football team had to do this. Hey, the quarterback, too many times he's touching it in the pocket. Let's run the ball. You had Lane Johnson, Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, all went to the coaches and said, hey, look, we don't have an elite quarterback here. We have a very good quarterback here.
That's not what they said.
That's what it is.
That's Big Sills' interpretation of it.
No. The actions speak louder than the words, oh grasshopper. You're now throwing the ball 14 times a game, 20 times a game. Give it to Saquon Barkley. Run the ball with the best running or second best running quarterback in the league. Look at this, man. You had to go to management and the coaching staff and say, look, let's take the ball in the passing game out of Hurts' hands. Let's put it more in the run game. We don't have an elite quarterback, but we can win a ton of games like we did in 22 with this style of play. That's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, I would argue that Jalen is elite when they play this type of football because you don't need big passing. You need no turnovers. You need efficient football, and Jalen's done that the last 3 weeks, looking really good in this offense. Let's go there with the quarterbacks. Bake Sales. Trevor Lawrence, not a former number one overall pick. I forget exactly what year he was drafted. He was number one. Yeah, that's right.
He was number one overall.
Yep. Jalen Hurts versus Trevor Lawrence. I mean, who's the better quarterback in this game? Who are you giving the advantage to coming into this one?
Well, it's obviously going to be Hurts in this one because he's got the better talent around him. He's got the better offensive line around him. He's got the better culture around him. And I would say this to you, too, that defense on the other side of the ball is starting to pick it up a bit here, and you're starting to create some balance on both sides of the football. You know, Trevor Lawrence, again, if you look at his season, he's not having a horrible year, and actually he's ticked it up a bit here. But anytime that you have players that are in and out of the lineup the way that the Jaguars have going into this, I mean, again, you're not going to get continuity. Look at what Jalen had when all the continuity issues with the wide receivers were not in the game. He looked like a wishbone quarterback from the Big 12 when he didn't have his quarterbacks in there. So, I mean, his wide receivers in there. So, same thing with Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence doesn't have the top guys, and NTN's been hurt. Plus, now you're starting to see a small bit of a sell-off. They get rid of their left OT. Their guard's injured. I mean, there's been too many guys in and out of the lineup to get any kind of continuity. I still think he's a really good talent. But once again here, man, Doug Pederson is going to be gauged on the development of Trevor Lawrence, and that's been spotty at best.
No doubt about it, and I'll point to everybody. We had a great week of content, by the way, this week on JAKIB Sports. Shout out to Dan. He had some tremendous guests on. Some great segments, some great overall content. Big Sil's calling him Wishbone here. Didn't we have, I forget, what's that guy's name? He's a legend for Miami Hurricanes, a legend for the Dallas Cowboys. Didn't he have a good comment on Jalen Hurts this week? I think his name's Michael Irvin, famously known as the Playmaker. He had a comment on Jalen Hurts this week, Big Sil's, right on the National Football Show, calling Jalen Hurts an elite player and an elite leader. And an elite leader. Both. He doubled down on both. So I will push back on you and say Wishbone is incorrect. Elite.
Let me ask you something. What do you think he does better, run the ball or throw it?
Both.
No. He's a better runner than he's throwing.
He throws the ball well, man.
No. He throws the ball well. He runs the ball great.
That's fair. I don't have a problem with that because when they build their offense around what he's good at,
it only took him a year and a half.
All right, well, it's 16 to 20, 80% completion percentage, 240 yards passing, a touchdown in the air. That's elite. That's elite numbers.
The 22nd ranked passing offense is elite.
It's a different style.
He's on pace for 3,600 yards. He's elite.
It's a different style. It's obvious that you do not like.
It is. I'm kidding around. It's a winning style. It
is. I know you're just messing, and I understand. I get what you're saying.
Again, Zander, the key in this game is, I got to tell you, man, I'm going to hate to contradict both of us here. Dude, I think they're going to throw this thing, and I think they're going to create a lot of offense in this game because, dude, the Jags are terrible in the secondary. They are just terrible, man. But their edge rushers are pretty good. Both of them there are pretty good. That Walker kid's got 6.5 sacks right now. So, again, that's something just to keep an eye on, especially with Fred Johnson.
No doubt about it. I mean, you just brought up the Jaguars defense. They are 29th in total defense, 31st in passing defense. They are just not a good unit. I think it's Jim Bob Cooter is the defensive coordinator.
Former head coach, Arizona State. Yes.
Yeah, not doing a great job right now on Doug Peterson's defense. How do you attack them if you're the Eagles today? Do they kind of stick with what they've done, or you think they're going to change it up?
Man, you give them body punches like they've been doing these last couple teams here. Keep hitting them in the body. Keep hitting body punches here. And then what you do is you start to go over the top with them because they'll start having to play up closer to the line of scrimmage. You'll start to see more single coverage on the wide receivers. And in my opinion, Zander, I think it's going to be the same formula on how you beat them. Look, this game shouldn't be close. okay? But we know how the NFL works, okay? Shoulda, woulda, coulda, and all of a sudden, you look up and you're in the fourth quarter and you've got a football game now. So to me, in my opinion, that's something to keep an eye on here. How are they going to go about Eagle business? Take care of Eagle business, and they should come out of this win with a pretty good win, because on the flip side of this, they got some pretty good football teams on the other side of this ball game coming up here, and this is really going to be able to set them up for those games.
Yeah, Dallas struggling again today, so I don't know about them being a competitor. But
5 wins, I said at the beginning of the year. Two things that I've been right on so far. The Washington Commanders winning the NFC East and the Dallas Cowboys only winning 5 ball games. That looks like it's rolling towards that way. And by the way, that Jaden Daniels can play, son. Yeah, that kid's going to win his 7th straight ball game. How you doing?
Today. He looks good today, man. No doubt about it. I might be eating my words on what I said about him.
It's going to be a great game, Zander. Both of those Washington games are going to be really great football games.
It's no doubt that, through 8 weeks here, we're in week 9 as week 9 is underway. For anybody watching right now, a lot of football on the screen today. It's very evident to me that the Eagles and the Commanders are the 2 teams in the NFC East. The other 2 are not very good. The Giants do not look good today, again, versus the Commanders. And Dallas is just, I don't know what the hell's going on in Dallas. We'll get to a few super chats here, Big Sills. Appreciate everybody being here. Hit that like button this morning. Got a big game day here coming up for the Philadelphia Eagles. We'll get to John McMullen in a couple minutes from the stadium. Ben Fly checks in. Eagles get a touchdown in the first quarter in KGS. I don't know what that means. But first quarter touchdown, Sills. You taking it over or under?
I'll take this one here. I said last week they wouldn't get it. Boom! This week, I think they get it, and I think they end that drought this week here, and I think they score that touchdown in the first quarter. Look, man, the Jags just aren't a very good-looking football team right now. I mean, they just – they have some talent when healthy. There's guys on both sides of the football. Let's not forget something here. There's a ton of first-round picks that are on that team. Zander, when you suck for a decade, you're going to be picking a lot of first rounders. And, when they're healthy, there's a lot of ones that are out there. And it looks like NTN's going to play this week, but he's been banged up all year long, though, too.
Yeah, so they're missing some receivers. Jason A-Team checks in. Appreciate it, Ben Fly, and thank you, Jason, for the support as well. Jason A-Team drops a $10 super chat. He says, how we doing, JAKIB family, Big Z and Sills? I think this is a big trap game. Don't be surprised if we lose. We have Cowboys and Washington on a short week after that. Hopefully I am wrong. Go Birds, Jason. I think we get the win today, but I do see the signs of a trap game. I don't like to fall into that. I think we're a better football team today, and I think we'll get the win. Big Sills, your response, and then we'll go to John McMullen from the stadium.
Unless we're just talking the points here, which is like 7.5, 8. That's the only part where this is a game. I don't see it. I don't see where the Jags are going to move the ball. They're awful in the secondary. Now, where they're strong is, like I said, their perimeter edge rushers are pretty good ball players. Okay, their linebackers aren't that bad, but they're all banged up, and you're playing musical chairs in that offensive line. This is going to be another football game where you're going to start to see a little bit of the edge guys. I would say for the Eagles to try to get home in this ball game, because you just sent the offensive lineman to Minnesota. Okay, I mean, in my opinion, man, this is going to come down again, getting pressure on the ball. I don't really think Vic has to do a lot in this game. Just bring them, get the pass rush going, play zone. I think this thing should be an easy win for them, believe it or not.
Jason A-Team, thank you, man. Appreciate that. Thanks, everybody, for the support today. We'll go to our main man, John McMullen from the stadium. Johnny Mac, welcome to the pregame show, my man. How you doing down there at Lincoln Financial Field, John? Set the stage for us, John. What's the link like today? It's Kelly Green week, John. They got the big
Kelly
white
Green
logo.
week. I'm told. I didn't have enough hints to figure out what is Kelly Green week. But, the stadium's decked out. Shady McCoy going to be putting the Eagles Hall of Fame today. So, it's like homecoming week. For Sills, he knows. You schedule the poor opponent for homecoming week. So, that's what it is. That's what it is. They should win this game pretty easily, and we'll see how it shakes out. I hear the point when I came on about the trap game, and it does make some sense from the standpoint that Dallas is next and then Washington on a short week. But Dallas is not playing well again today. They're not.
Yeah.
They're not what they once were. Now Washington looks legitimate. They're going to be around all season, but that's for after next week. So I'm not sure I buy into the trap part of it. But plus Jacksonville's so banged up in general. A lot of guys banged up are going to try to play. Most notably Brian Thomas. So that'll help a little bit. I do want to see Tank Bigsby in this running game because he is a big powerful back, and he's going to play. And I want to see how the Eagles linebackers handle that kind of presence on the field because he's having a big season. But you really got to look hard to find things Jacksonville is doing well defensively. Not only are they bad on paper from a yardage standpoint, 29th in the league, but they're consistently bad. Everything, third down defense, red zone defense, fourth down defense. So not a lot you can hang your hat on from that perspective. Other than I can tell you that the Eagles are very worried about the edge rushers, Josh Hines Allen, Trayvon Walker, really talented guys. So you do have to pay the proper understanding that those players can hurt you, and I think the Eagles have done that.
John, would you say this, that one of the concerns with Brian Thomas, who, by the way, like you said, he looks like he fits in. He looks like he's a bona fide NFL player now, albeit he's banged up here. And with Slay being in and out of the lineup the last couple of weeks and had some issues with the IR this week too, and they've kind of resting him here, do you think we're going to see a little more Isaiah Rodgers sitting there at the corner one? Or are they going to move him over to the corner one, Quinyon Mitchell, and move Rodgers back over to two? Or are they going to stand pat and put Rodgers over at one?
No, yeah, Rodgers is going to play for Darius Slay. So Darius Slay was ruled out on Friday. So the Eagles have known. He hasn't practiced all week. They knew he wasn't going to play. Isaiah just steps in from that perspective. They're not going to Slay plays left corner. Mitchell plays right corner. So Rodgers will step in on the left corner. The Eagles don't travel a lot to begin with. When they do, it is Slay, but there's not going to be any upheaval about, and this is not the team you're going to travel with in general. So, there's no Tyreek Hill, there's no Justin Jefferson. Brian Thomas, as you mentioned, very good rookie receiver, but not the type of presence where you're worried about, traveling and doing things of that nature.
John, do you think we'll see Cooper DeJean, or do you think you're going to see Ringo out there as depth at that corner position for Slay being out? Who's going to be that guy if there's a nick or what have you on trying to get more depth behind him? How are they going to play that? Or do they keep Cooper in the slot?
Yeah, Cooper's going to stay in the slot. He's playing too well to mess with that. Kaylee Ringo's your top backup on outside corner. Eli Ricks is also active today to give you a little bit more depth as well at outside corner. So typically Eli has not dressed. This week Tristan McCullum is down at safety because they have Sidney Brown back, and Eli Ricks is up because Slay's down. So that's the domino effect there. But yeah, Cooper's not moving. He's playing too well in the slot. And if everything goes to plan, it'll be Mitchell, Rodgers, Cooper the entire game.
No doubt. Johnny Mac, let's talk about the Eagles offense. Jaguars are the 29th total defense coming into this football game. What's your expectation from for how the Eagles will attack offensively in this football game?
Yeah, well, Nick has said it 1,000 times. I'll probably say it 1,000 more times before anybody believes them. They'll do what they need to do to win a football game. If that means run it 40 times, they'll run it 40 times. If that means throw it 40 times, they'll throw it 40 times. Obviously, they've had a lot of success recently running the football. This is a team, though, that the one place they aren't in the bottom five is run defense. They're top 10, ninth in the league. So in theory, on paper, you say, all right, they do a pretty good job stopping the run, and they're bottom five in the NFL stopping the pass. So this could be an opportunity to get the passing game going. But, the Eagles have said in the past, if you go back to the 2021 season, a bunch of times they were matched up against the number one run defense in the NFL, and they just blew them off the field anyway. So they kind of get a feel for what's working on a particular game day, and they'll roll with that. But on paper, Jacksonville struggles against the pass, is pretty good against the run. Now, part of that is they're down a lot too. So it's we talk about this all the time, Zander. So that means from a standpoint defensively, we know what it means offensively, but defensively, they struggle against the pass, and teams have been able to move the football pretty easily against them. Now, Tyson Campbell was hurt earlier in the season. He's been back, and he's a legit corner. So maybe it gets a little bit better for them with Tyson Campbell getting more comfortable. But overall, they've been really bad in the secondary.
John, so you're not buying then. You think it's more ebb and flow. You're not buying that the players made a comment all week, and those guys were barking this week that they wanted to get back to being more of a run traditional offense. And when Mulata and when Lane and all these guys, and you hear the players saying that they went to the coaches and said, we would like to be more of a dominant inflict your will type of offense and running the football more. You're not buying that? You're thinking that it's still ebb and flow?
No, I mean, people have to understand. You could ask Lane Johnson. The Eagles could be 16-0. If you ask Lane Johnson, do you want to run the football? He's going to say, I want to run the football. They're offensive linemen. They want to run the football. So I wrote about this on Sports Illustrated. If you look at the more layered quotes from Nick Sirianni, from Kellen Moore, from Jalen Hurts, they say, we want to do everything effectively. It's working really well. Kellen Moore said, it's working really well right now. We'll see where it goes. Offensive linemen want to run the football. You know that as a former defensive lineman. They don't want to get hit, Dan. They want to go forward, and they want to beat people up. So, Lane always wants to run the ball. There's that does not change with Lane Johnson. So, same thing with Jordan Mailata and Landon Dickerson. The coaching staff has been more – look, I've said it's a bad sign. Lane compared it to 2021 in Detroit. That's when the Eagles thought they put too much on Jalen Hurts' plate as a first-time starter and scaled back. For the life of me, if that's what's going on right now, that is not a good sign for the Philadelphia Eagles being where they want to be as a true Super Bowl contender.
And John, to your point, I mean, he's the same guy that said the offense was constipated.
Yeah, Lane did. Yeah. So, Kellen Moore, that's why Kellen Moore and Nick Sirianni have said, hey, we want to do everything. We don't want to be what we were in 2021 when then Todd Bowles showed up with a game plan and said, guess what? You ain't running on us, and we're going to flush them left, and we blow you out of the playoffs. They don't want to be that team. They want to be a more well-rounded team. That's why you get different quotes from Kellen Moore and Nick Sirianni for the guys in charge of the total offense. Lane always wants to run the football. Always.
Johnny Mac, Doug Pederson, only Super Bowl winning coach in Eagles franchise history, is back in the building today. Walking around, I saw a picture floating around of him talking to Howie Roseman. Think that has any impact on this game? I know it's kind of a fun thing for the fans, but with the Super Bowl winning coach coming back, but what do you expect from Doug Pederson today? Maybe he has a little bit of a revenge factor on the mind that he wants to beat this team in this front office.
Remember, Doug's already been back to one game. It was a weather game. Jacksonville got out to a 14-0 lead, kind of fell apart. Trevor Lawrence fell apart in the weather. Really rainy day. So he's already been through it once. I think there's a little less talk about it this time, rightfully so. And he's just trying to figure out a way to stop a team that's really struggling and keep his job, to be honest, because if things continue to go this way for Jacksonville, Doug Peterson's not going to be there next year. So I don't think he's worried about revenge or anything of that nature, other than he's trying to get his team to overachieve a little bit today.
Hey, John, if you had to have one running back to win you a football game, would it be Brian Westbrook or Shady McCoy?
It's a good question. Shady, because Shady's the guy who can carry it 25, 30 times, whereas Westbrook has to be more of a third down back, for lack of a better term. He couldn't can't handle the number of touches Shady McCoy would get. So I think you always want that guy who can touch the football 30 times consistently. I think that would be more important.
I love it. Good question there from Big Sills as Shady McCoy getting ready to get inducted into the Eagles Hall of Fame today. John, you spoke with Shady. Anything you take away from his meeting with the media today?
No, just the maturity. He's got much more mature. Obviously, was bitter at leaving when he did. Not so much at the organization as Chip Kelly, but as most people, he's matured a little bit in life, and it's fun to see people like that grow. And obviously, all-time franchise leader in rushing yards, tremendous with the ball in his hands in space. Different era a little bit too. So, I remember people having that conversation at one point, who was the best running back in football? Was it Adrian Peterson or LaShawn McCoy? To be in that kind of company, even for a short period, is pretty impressive.
Hey, John, you mentioned relationship with Shady and the organization. What's the relationship with Doug Pederson and the organization? I mean, let's say he is blown out. Is that relationship still, is it better today? Is there still some adversarial thoughts and, bad blood between the two? I mean, and is it Howie? Is it the owner? I mean, how are those guys today compared to when Doug was fired a couple of years ago?
No, I don't think there was ever that much bad blood. I think Doug was tired of it, tired of the situation, tired of how the organization was run, wanted a little bit more control after what was accomplished. I don't think there was ever any real bad blood. And then it came out this week that Doug was actually giving Nick Sirianni advice about how to handle Philadelphia after being fired. And he was, that's a lot of gratitude. A lot of people wouldn't do that if they were getting blown out from a city, and he was trying to help Nick Sirianni sort of navigate the waters. From Doug's standpoint, I never got the feeling that, other than he was kind of tired of, being told who maybe some of his assistants should be, was tired by, to be honest, some of the media coverage and a war on him. He said, let's go golfing in Florida for a little while, and came back. And Jacksonville, not nearly as difficult a market as Philadelphia. So I think it wore on him a little bit. Everybody's got a shelf life. But I don't sense any bitterness from the organization towards Doug or Doug towards the organization.
Hey, John,
No doubt. Johnny Mac, going back to the game. Go ahead,
I'm just going to ask one last one on that. Let's say Kellen does a great job with Jalen Hurts and gets an opportunity to become a head coach. Would they ever go down that lane of having him as the offensive coordinator back in the building, John, or is that just a pipe dream?
No, that would never happen. That would never happen. No. Now, once you're the head guy, you're not coming back. I can't say that for everybody. Yeah, but Doug's not coming back to be an offensive coordinator. I'm very comfortable with that.
Johnny Mac, Birds are 5-2, Jags are 2-6. I mean, you don't want to fall into the trap game talk, but what do the Eagles need to do today to come out of this game with a victory?
Don't turn it over. I mean, that's the only way Jacksonville's going to beat you. And I'm talking, +3. I'm talking not one turnover, but they would have to really, probably score on defense, maybe score on special teams. something out of the ordinary is gonna have to happen for Jacksonville to win this football game. So as long as the Eagles play a relatively clean game, might not be the prettiest. I could see them sort of playing down to the competition. That happens a lot in this league. But ultimately, they'll out talent Jacksonville. Who's banged up, trade their starting left tackle, seem to be accepting their fate a little bit. And once you do that as an NFL team, it tends to snowball tends to start going down the hill pretty quickly.
Johnny Mac, prediction on the game today. I know you gave it out on Birds 365, but now the inactives have come out. Any changes to your prediction on the game today?
Yeah, a few more guys playing by Thomas, so maybe that changes it a little bit. And I've lost you guys, so I don't know if you can hear me, but I don't know if you can hear me, Dan.
I got your back,
you can hear me.
We're good, John.
But I have the Eagles winning 30-16. Yeah. I have the Eagles winning the game 30-16. I think it'll be in that range. I think it'll be a pretty comfortable win. If they play down to their competition, maybe more of like a Cleveland vibe 3 weeks ago. But I don't think you're going to be scared much in the fourth quarter of this one.
John,
I think that Robert De Niro's probably using up your Wi-Fi out there at the tailgate.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what we got going
Bobby
on.
D's here. Well, it's only 2 more days of wingnut season, so I'm sure Bobby D's trying to cultivate as many voters as he can. Good luck. Good luck.
John, thanks for joining, man. We'll talk to you on the halftime show and the postgame show.
Thank you, John.
All right, there's Johnny Mac joining me. A little spotty internet there for the Birds. I think what happens is the stadium fills up and it starts to take away. It's like if you've ever been to a stadium and your phone just doesn't work even when you have service. I think that's what happens there.
I think it's got more to do with De Niro being out there. But, hey, that's just Big Sills' theory. At Big Sills' conspiracy theory, that's who I am here. By the way, I liked what John said about the game. Here, I saw Yale make a comment, and I think this is as simple as it is, too. Don't turn the ball over 3 times. Get pressure on Lawrence and stay out of 3rd and long. I don't see how you lose this football game. I really don't. Again, you would have Jacksonville has to play A+ to hang in it, not win it.
Just to hang right,
in
yeah.
it. I mean, then you kind of look at the play, then you kind of look at the turnovers here, and then you turn around and go down that route there. That's what keeps the game close. What you don't want to get is 3 and outs early in this ball game and start to get those turnovers. By the way, I'll be very interesting to watch the first 25 plays and the greatness of Nick Sirianni and how his influence is on those first 25 plays. I guarantee everyone in here, there'll be a better football team after the first 25 plays like they have been all year.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Is that on Nick or is that on the organization?
I think it's on too many hands on the damn game plan. I think
look,
we're eyes on it.
It's ironic to talk about this week because Doug Pederson's back in the building. You just heard John say it. He left because he was done with the way the organization handles things. There's no real control for the head coach. So it's easy to sit here and blame Nick for what he does. And then on the other hand, you got to think, well, how much control did he have?
Well, because you told everyone this week too. You brought up the point that Doug, after a game in Green Bay, had to go sit in the principal's office. Well, don't you think this guy has to sit in the principal's office on Monday after every game when you got a quarterback with 14 attempts? Don't tell me you don't think that Nick had to go up there and go, hey, possible. You know what, man? We got 14 passing attempts here, and I'm paying $51 million to my wideouts. Where are we going here?
Yeah, it makes sense. Big Sills, I'm talk to me. I'm the Eagle fan in the room, and the more I think about this game, I mean, even listening to you and John, who are two more objective voices, I don't see how the Eagles lose this game, but it's almost so much, it's starting to make me fearful in the terms of, do I feel too good about this game? It is the NFL. I mean, how do you see it, Sills?
I think the Cowboy game is the trap game.
Next week, well, Dak Prescott just went down.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. And I heard that too. And by the way, Atlanta looks outstanding on defense. And I'll tell you what, that BJ Robinson kid is some ball player. That's one of the kids I wanted. I'm not saying that I'd rather have him over Carter, but boy, I'll tell you, man, he is a weapon. And the receiver they got also from, I think, Southern Cal, that kid is absolutely – they look really like a good football team, and they put it on Dallas. That will be something to think about. And by the way, what a break if Prescott's injured. I can hear people already going like this. Seals, are you hoping for injuries? If it benefits my team, I'm not hoping for anything. But if it benefits the Eagles, who cares? That's in the best interest of the Eagles that guy's down. Instead of you'd rather go against Dak Prescott because of what? Because you want to play the game with them at their best. I want to play the Cowboys when they're at their worst. I think this is a ball game here also with the Jags. Hey, sorry the Jags are hurt, but not really. I don't care. Put it on them. I mean, look, you got to get yourself ready for December and January football. And worrying about what another team's doing or their quarterbacks, how he's playing, or if he's injured, the Eagles can't worry about anyone else. Don't worry about Detroit. Don't worry about the Niners. Don't worry about any of those other teams. Take care of business and start getting some continuity together.
Yeah, no doubt. Got to get to the best version of the Eagles if you want to think about beating those teams. I think
that's
you bring up a good point there. Don't worry about everybody else. Worry about the Birds. Get better at what they do best, and they could be a formidable team late in the season. We will see. What'd you make of John's comments about the offense? You know, you heard that was a big thing on Friday, right? Lane speaking in the locker room, and he's talking about what they asked of the coaches. And I think John brings up a fair point, right? I mean, you ask any offensive lineman, they're going to want to run, but it certainly seems like it's looked different, Sills.
I'm not buying that, what John's saying. I'm just not.
Yeah,
I mean, why would the players come out and make such a giant deal of it when that could be held in-house? You could have held that in-house and no one would know the better of it. And by the way, don't you remember when Hurts was asked the question? He got a little bit adversarial with it when he goes like this. I think it was Jeff McClain that asked the question from the Inquirer. Remember what he said earlier in the week? He goes, hey, since the last 3 weeks, the offense has looked a little bit different right now. And Jalen popped back and said, in what way? And Jalen even knows because the passing attempts are down. John's theory is this. That's ebb and flow. Well, dude, I don't know how many high-powered quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes or Allen or any of these other guys that would want the ball out of their hands. That's what this is. And by the way, how about this? It's shifting of responsibilities with Hurts versus having the ball out of his hands. They're shifting it more to him. Isn't
there also a level of utilization of great players? Like I'll just give you an example.
That's what I'm saying.
If I were Mahomes, no shit. He's got Isaiah Pacheco and backups. If I'm Josh Allen, who's his running back? What about Derrick Henry in Baltimore? If they run him 30 times one game, I don't think Lamar Jackson's crying about it. I think he understands why the hell they're doing that because it's a weapon and you can beat football teams by using it, right? I mean, isn't there a level of kind of balance there?
Absolutely. But that's what I'm talking about here in a way. I'm talking about utilizing finally a football player to his skill set. I've been screaming this entire thing for the last how long now? Get the kid back to 22. Get the kid back to 22. Don't drop him back 37 times. Don't do that because that's not who that guy is. And by the way, you bring up the point of Derrick Henry. Well, Derrick Henry today, along with Lamar Jackson, are torturing a team. Henry goes for 107 and 2 touchdowns already. And you got a quarterback now with 3 TD passes and 280 yards passing, and they're blowing the doors off the 5-3 Broncos right now. And why is that? Because they're using the skill set to what that quarterback does to his best set. And that is this. They don't have a 3 wide out set. They have a tight end. They have Henry, and they have Lamar. Even in that football game, look at the numbers that you're looking at even with him rushing the ball. I mean, he didn't have to run the ball in this game. He's only got 4 yards rushing. That's not a Lamar Jackson football game. But now that you have Henry, same way that the Eagles have Barkley, you're able now to have some balance in your running attack here. That Baltimore team has got it going on, and I'd really like to see the Eagle offense resemble that what they have in Baltimore.
Yeah, it'd be great to see, and I think it works better in the NFC. I've pointed that many times on your show where AFC, that might work now, but late in the playoffs, you might have an issue if that's your system.
Not working, right.
Right. For the NFC, I think that could be a recipe for success to win the NFC. You got a lot of physical football teams. Look at the Detroit Lions, probably the top team in the NFC right now. That's how they're built as well. So I think the Birds can have a lot of success by running the football. And I really have no issue with what they're doing. I know you point to, taking the ball out of Hurts' hands. I guess that's one way to look at it. I'm more
Xander, I shouldn't say out of his hands because he is running it. It's more shifting the responsibility back to what the kid does best, and that is being dual threat. I mean,
I think it's a good thing.
Right. If you take 14 passing attempts out of his hands and you give him an additional 8 carries, are you really taking it out of his hands, or are you just moving the sticks around a little bit on what he does best? And I'm going to tell you one more time. The reason that I think you're seeing more single coverage is because you're seeing more carries from both guys, Barkley and Hurts, in these games. Like I said to you on Friday, all week really, I can't believe how many times I saw single coverage on Devontae and A.J. Brown in that game. And you're like this, where in the world and why in the world are you going to do something like that when you've got those 2 perimeter guys that could just kill you? I mean, that's because the running game is now becoming more effective. And I think that's one of the reasons why the players went to Nick and said, let's start it off there.
No doubt about it. About 15 minutes, about almost 18, 20 minutes. I think 4:05 we're set to kick off today on CBS. Big Sil's just 20 minutes out, man. You feel – it feels too easy for me, this game.
It's almost like you don't know what to say because you think that this game here, and you don't want to fall into the trap of going like this. It's an NFL game, and any given Sunday, you can have anything happen. Hey, folks, just remember this. In my lifetime, I never thought I'd ever hear this. Vanderbilt beats Alabama and Auburn in the same year. So anything is possible, and anything can happen like that. So you're right, man. Again, play efficient football. Sorry, Xander, I had to bring it up there, man. I mean,
well, the college football season started this year, and I'm like, I kind of like rooting for Miami just because I love Big Sills. We have a great relationship. I've grown to root for them to win football games. Now you keep taking barbs at me, and I'm looking like, you know what? Fuck the Hurricanes. I might start rooting for them to lose too. But I hear you. Look, Alabama has welcomed
but listen, I know where you're feeling though, man. I mean, hey, look, you don't want to go into any NFL game already putting a W up before you go out there and play the 60.
Yeah, no doubt.
This is a game
defense today, dude. How do you approach this defense? I mean, they got a banged up or approach the Jags offense. They have a really banged up wide receiving group, but you don't want to go to sleep. What's your approach defensively today?
Oh, I want to pressure Lawrence as much as I can. I want to go after him like they went after Deshaun Watson. I want to bring as many games and stunts as I possibly can. I'll tell you this too. This could be a get-right game for Davis. Jordan Davis, this could be a get-right game. He's got an opportunity in there to really be a factor in stopping the run here. Xander, I'll tell you, I'll put these numbers up here. If they get 120 yards rushing, the Jags, I'll be stunned. If they get over 280 yards passing, I'll be stunned. If there's not 3 turnovers in this game by the Jags, I'll be stunned. If they put up, and again, I'll give you my score here in a minute, I just don't see where they're generating all this stuff. Now, look, once again, here's the one thing that Eagle fans and why he feels the way he does. All this stuff was being said about the Eagles when they went into the Super Bowl versus the Patriots. Where are they getting this from with all these backups? Where are they doing this? How are they doing this? And all of a sudden, the magician waves his wand and they come up and they knock off the Patriots in the Super Bowl. Of all guys to have in the building when all things are looking bleak, that's the guy Eagle fan doesn't want to look across the sidelines on and go, hell, it's that guy? Yeah. Okay, look, they're not good. Everybody's banged up. Gee, that sounds like a story I heard before in 17.
Exactly right. No doubt about it. We'll see what they end up doing today. We'll take a commercial break here. When we come back, Big Sills, his final keys to the game and his prediction. We got Johnny Mac. Johnny Mac was 30-16 the Eagles will win. My prediction is up there as well. I have a big win coming. We will get Dan's coming up next here on the JAKIB Pregame Show. Appreciate everybody for being here. Appreciate our 2 super chatters and appreciate all the people engaged and talking in the chat right now. Hit that like button for us, everybody. We'll be back in 3 minutes to wrap up the pregame show here and get ready for the Week 9 edition of the NFL. Birds taking on the Jaguars. Back in 3, everybody.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid. Score and save in southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
I get scared sometimes.
Of a lot of things.
Joining in.
Decisions.
The dark.
The dark.
But I once heard someone say,
But as I always say,
it's okay to be afraid.
as long as you face the fear.
And keep moving forward.
Wherever you are in life, count on the name trusted in insurance for over 80 years. Independence Blue Cross.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer three major services. The first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
Heading down the shore, have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wild wood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Welcome back in, everybody, to the JAKIB Pregame Show here on JAKIB Sports. Appreciate everybody being here this afternoon, getting ready for a 4:05 p.m. kickoff. A little different. We've been on the 1 p.m. kicks a lot, Big Sills. We got the 4:05 kick, and here's a stat for you, Sills. Eagles are 13-1 in their last 14 games against AFC opponents. So they're handling the AFC very well in their last 14 with Jalen Hurts at the helm. Should be good today. Let me ask you about Isaiah Rodgers, who's stepping in for Darius Slay today. You think that's something to be concerned about?
I don't. I like the player. Hey, can this guy break an egg? No. I mean, but can he cover? Yes. I mean,
he can cover. He's a great cover corner.
Guy. And then in today's NFL, and Zander, doesn't this guy kind of fit the scheme of Vic Fangio when you're playing those two high safeties and you're playing off the ball the way he does? You're not asking him to be physical there in man coverage where you have to get up in the guy's grill and not allow this guy to get behind him. He keeps everything in front of him here. I think this is a prototypical type of corner that you have. Now, the one thing that Quinyon Mitchell gives you, he gives you physicality and can cover. That's what makes him different than what Isaiah Rodgers. Actually, Zander, I'm going to make a point to you. Xander's the big Slay guy when it comes to Slay being an important piece to this team. I think you're going to actually get better coverage out of Isaiah Rodgers because he's not going to be able to let the guy get deep on him. He's not going to grab the guy because, to me, he's younger. He's got more energy. And personally, I think he's got more speed right now than what Slay has. Slay gets away right now with what? Savvy, experience. There's no question about that. But his body's falling apart. It's funny, me and him had a debate about trading him. The next day, what happened? Boom, IR. not active for Sunday's game. How you doing? It's almost like we see things. You know,
Super
Xander?
Bowl contenders don't
Easy.
trade away veteran cornerbacks.
Yeah, we'll see if he's there in the Super Bowl if you guys make it that far, because he's not even in the Jag game.
You're probably right about that, but it's not the point. You don't trade him away midway through the year. It's a bad message. It's a bad signal. It's not worth what you're going. What are you going to get? A 7th rounder?
No. Want to get the contract off, and I want to get the younger guys more reps.
Right,
I want to get the
fine.
Keely
We'll
Ringo,
do
and I
that
want to get
after.
Isaiah Rodgers more reps because that's my future. Slay's a relic.
Everybody in the chat checking in. Trade, no play, Slay. Flexen says.
That's
We'll
right.
see what they end up doing. We'll see how Isaiah plays today. Look, if your man Isaiah gets burnt toast today, Sills, I'm going to be crushing you.
Wait a
on the
minute.
show.
What other options do you have? Keely Ringo?
Yeah.
I mean,
You're the one who wants to trade Slay.
Hey, I'm right. Well, because he's not healthy ever.
Well, that's a different conversation. We'll see. Big Sills, your keys to the game before we get your prediction and get out of here. Your keys to victory today for the Eagles.
You know, I feel like I'm watching an Alabama game versus Tennessee Chattanooga.
Enough with the Bama. Enough.
Wait, no, it's like I think Eagle fans today are looking at this game like an Alabama, Tennessee, Chattanooga, breaking the schedule, and they're going like this. That's why you're seeing people go, you know, the interest level, they got Shady in the building. Even the Eagles know it. They had Kelly Green Day. They got Shady in the building. Everyone knows. They're like, that's the Jags. We're not really going to be tested today. Even Sanders going like this on the pregame. I don't know. How am I supposed to make it? Where are we going with this? He's right, though. These are the kind of games, though, Xander, you want to see if you got championship medal by doing what? Don't play down to the competition and hang around down there with that talent because that football team right now is on a respirator. Hell, you got guys in that locker room right now that are thinking this, I could be cut Monday. You got a head coach that's saying I could be fired Monday. So you got a lot of pressure in that locker room to go out and try to do the very best you can. You're going to get the Jags' best effort. Doug coming home, all that. They know all that. They've heard it all too. Plus, the coach has the pressure of the owner, Zicky Wolf there, Shay Khan. Excuse me. Zicky Wolf's up in Minnesota. Shay Khan is down in Jacksonville. He's already said that, listen, man, Sills has us in the Super Bowl only if you're buying a ticket. I can't tell you that right now on November 3rd. I'll let you know in December.
Sills is like, well, if you're in the Super Bowl, Slay won't be out there. Mad Bird, way to pick up on that. So, ready? Here's a prediction of mine today that's not score related. And you tell me if I'm nuts. Jalen Hurts plays his second straight week of elite football.
Here's my prediction. He'll be 8 of 10.
8 of 10.
For 140 yards. And he'll rush the ball 14 times for 95 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Barkley's going to have 25 carries for 150 yards rushing. There's your formula. Because that's what the kid's been doing the whole time.
10 throws?
Well, according to John, ebb and flow. You know, hey, according to John, I think you're going to get north of 40 carries in this football game. You know, but Xander, kidding aside, they can't stop the run, dude. They cannot stop the run. They're terrible in every aspect on defense.
Well, they're not.
And what's the one thing you do best?
Here's
the one thing I don't want to do. I don't want to throw a high percentage play when it comes to turnovers, throwing the ball in the air when I can hand the ball off to either Hurts or to Barkley.
You said it on the show. They're the 9th ranked run defense. They're the 31st ranked pass defense. It could be a big day to pass.
Then they're going to go out of that and go 3 and out, and then they're going to keep the team in the game. I don't believe they could stop the run.
Jalen will have an elite. I'm predicting 75% completion percentage, over 200 yards passing,
at
least a couple touchdowns in the air, no turnovers, and another efficient, clean game.
8 of 10, 140 yards passing.
8 of 10.
8 of
10 what, in the first half?
14 carries, 95 yards, and I'm going to stick to my prediction. As I said on Friday, 31-17. I don't see it.
31-17. I like that. That's pretty good. I'm sticking with my prediction as well. I had 34-10. Now, that might seem crazy, but like I said, I don't see how the hell are the Jags going to score points today?
I just don't see it either.
I don't see it.
I don't see where they're coming up with these points in this ball game.
I don't see it at all, and we'll see how it all plays out today. There's the predictions from us on the game today. Appreciate everybody being here.
Now, are they gonna boo Doug, or are they going to cheer Doug?
If I were in the stands today, I would cheer him.
Okay.
And before the game, I'd give him a cheer, and then after that, you don't need, it's business now. But look, dude, that's the only dude that ever. I mean, there's fans in here who are double my age who have seen the same amount of Super Bowls as I have.
That's right, man.
Right? I mean,
absolutely.
Doug Pederson's the guy who did that. So he deserves the credit, whether people want to give it to him or not. He deserves ultimate respect in this town, and he's getting it from me. That's for sure. Now, I can't speak for everybody, but that's what I would do. And I would never boo Doug Pederson. I would never do boo.
Revered guy. Him, Vermeil, and Andy Reid will always go down as the three best coaches that Philadelphia fans revere the most. Those three guys.
Yeah.
All different. You know what's great too? All different generations too. Vermeil, Reid.
You don't think Nicky?
No, not yet. Oh, Nick's got to do a little bit more work and scream. Hey, by the way, ever since he's been an asshole, he's been doing a really good job.
Well, you know what else? Ever since he's been an asshole, everybody's taking note. Now James Franklin's crying at fans yesterday. Joel Embiid's punching reporters like an asshole.
The difference with Franklin, though, is he's 1-14 versus top 5 teams.
Yeah, he sucks.
And he's 1-10 versus Ohio State.
James Franklin's a joke. Any Penn State fan in the chat.
Joe Paterno, that's for sure. Joe Paterno doesn't lose like that.
Yeah, James Franklin's a joke. Big Sales, great pregame show, man. We'll get out of here. I know the game's coming up right around 4:05 kickoff, so it'll be off soon. Some crazy games going on in the NFL right now. Miami marched all the way back versus the Bills. The Commanders and Giants became a game. I didn't see how it finished. I'm on the show, but a lot of crazy games going on right now, no doubt about it. And we'll touch on all that. Yeah, Embiid.
Look at that 7-2 Commander team that Big Sills picked to win the NFC East. How about that there, man? Look at my boy, 2 touchdowns.
Birds will win the NFC East.
54 rushing yards, a TD, 20 of 26, 174, 2 touchdown passes, no picks. That's my guy here, man. Great job, Brian Johnson, with that quarterback and what you're doing in Washington. Holy cow, that guy is a good coach.
We're not going to touch on the Embiid stuff today, but boy, I'm going to piss some people off when we talk about that this week on the shows. Can't wait to do it. Appreciate everybody being here. Hit that like button on your way out. Enjoy the game, everybody. We'll see you on the halftime show and the postgame show coming up right after with Big Sills and John McMullen. That's going to do it, everybody. Big Sills, great show. We will catch you on the postgame show. Thanks, everybody.
EAGLES, Eagles.